Some lives feel borrowed, as if they continued past a moment where everything should have stopped. Jamie Foxx's story carries that weight. His survival has never been accidental or easy. It has been earned through resistance, discipline, and a refusal to disappear. Long before fame, he learned that life would not protect him by default. Every stage he reached came with scars, and every victory carried memory. His career spans comedy, music, and film, yet beneath the awards lies a deeper narrative, a man shaped by hardship who kept choosing presence over surrender. When illness later forced him into silence and recovery away from the public eye, it became another reminder that even the strongest figures are human first. What defines Jamie Foxx is not invincibility, but return, the quiet, determined act of standing back up when the world assumes you are gone. A childhood marked by absence. Jamie Foxx was born Eric Marlon Bishop in Terrell, Texas, into a world that withdrew before it could embrace him. His parents were not prepared to raise him, and within months he was placed in the care of his grandmother, Estelle Marie Talley. That early separation carved a silence into his life that never fully left. There were no bedtime reassurances from parents, no safety net of unconditional presence. What remained was a child learning independence far too early. Yet absence did not destroy him, it reshaped him. He grew up understanding that love could be inconsistent and that survival required inner structure. The lack of parental closeness planted a deep ache, but it also forged self-reliance. From a young age, Jamie learned that if he wanted stability, he would have to build it himself, brick by brick, from whatever materials life offered. The strength of his grandmother's discipline. Estelle Talley was not gentle, but she was unwavering. Her discipline was rooted in faith, responsibility, and routine, and she believed structure could protect a child from chaos. In her modest home, expectations were clear and excuses were not entertained. Jamie later described her as the strongest person he ever knew. She demanded excellence not because she was harsh, but because she believed he was capable of it. Music became central to that discipline. Piano lessons were mandatory, not optional, and mistakes were corrected through repetition, not punishment. The hours were long and often lonely, but they built precision, patience, and resilience. What felt restrictive at the time became foundational later in life. His grandmother did not save him from hardship, she prepared him for it. In doing so, she gave him something rare, the ability to endure without losing himself. Loneliness. Behind the laughter, humor did not arrive as joy, it arrived as defense. Jamie learned early that laughter could disarm pain, redirect attention, and create connection where silence felt unbearable. In school, jokes filled the space where loneliness lived. He could make rooms respond even when he felt unseen. Yet beneath the humor was a child constantly scanning crowds for faces that never appeared. Performances ended, games finished, and milestones passed without parental applause. That absence sharpened his emotional awareness. Comedy became a way to stay present without being vulnerable. Over time, that survival skill transformed into talent. The boy who joked to avoid sadness grew into a man who could control a room with timing and intuition. Still, the laughter never erased the ache, it only coexisted with it. Jamie Foxx learned that joy and pain are not opposites, they often grow from the same place. Choosing the stage and reinventing himself, college introduced Jamie to formal music study, but the stage called louder than the classroom. Comedy clubs in Los Angeles were ruthless, filled with rejection and fleeting opportunity. To survive, he reinvented himself, changing his name to Jamie Foxx to improve his chances of being called on stage. It was not an act of confidence, but of necessity. Those early nights were unpredictable. Some crowds responded, others turned cold. Failure was public and immediate, yet each performance sharpened his instincts. He learned timing through silence, resilience through rejection, and courage through repetition. Comedy became another form of endurance. Behind every laugh was preparation shaped by years of discipline. These were not glamorous years, but they were essential. They taught him how to stay standing when rooms rejected him, training that would later prepare him for the volatility of fame. Breaking through. Without being boxed in television brought visibility, but also limitations. When Jamie joined In Living Color, audiences discovered his versatility, yet the industry struggled to see past comedy. Success came with a label, and labels can be restrictive. The Jamie Foxx Show proved his staying power, but respect remained conditional. He was constantly auditioning against assumptions. Rather than retreat, he expanded, studying roles, refining his craft, and waiting for the moment when preparation would meet opportunity. Those years were not comfortable. They were marked by patience and quiet frustration. Yet Jamie understood something critical: timing matters. He continued working, growing, and resisting shortcuts. When the right role arrived, he was ready not just technically, but emotionally. His journey through television was not about instant validation. It was about proving depth in an industry that often rewards simplicity. Recognition, pressure, and the cost of excellence. The year Ray was released changed everything. Jamie Foxx did not imitate Ray Charles, he embodied him. The performance earned global recognition and an Academy Award, confirming his place among elite actors. Yet triumph carried weight. The same year brought another Oscar nomination, intensifying expectations. Success no longer meant survival, it meant maintenance. Every role was scrutinized. Failures felt amplified. When certain projects underperformed, criticism returned quickly, reminding him how conditional industry approval could be. But Jamie refused to retreat. He continued choosing complex roles, blending vulnerability with strength. From dramatic performances to musical success, he embraced range rather than safety. Excellence, he learned, requires risk. The pressure never vanished, but it no longer defined him. Instead, it sharpened his resolve to work with integrity rather than fear, honoring craft over comfort. Fatherhood and breaking the cycle. Becoming a father changed Jamie Foxx more than fame ever could. With the birth of his daughters, he faced his deepest fear, repeating the absence he had lived through. Romantic relationships did not always last, but his commitment to fatherhood remained constant. He chose presence intentionally, showing up, listening, and protecting space for normalcy. Fame stayed outside the door. His children became anchors, grounding him in responsibility beyond applause. Fatherhood forced him to confront his past without being ruled by it. He did not aim for perfection, he aimed for consistency. In doing so, he rewrote the narrative he inherited. The boy who grew up scanning empty seats became a man determined to never leave them empty for his own children. Love, he learned, is not declared, it is practiced daily through attention and care. Illness, silence, and the choice to return. Later in life, a serious medical emergency forced Jamie into stillness, recovery, and privacy. For someone whose life had always been motion and expression, the silence was profound. Recovery demanded patience rather than performance. He stepped away from the spotlight, choosing healing over explanation. The experience reminded the world and himself that strength has limits. Survival is not dramatic, it is quiet and slow. When he returned, it was not with spectacle but gratitude. The experience reshaped his understanding of time, presence, and humility. It reinforced a truth he had always known: life is fragile, and resilience is not about avoiding hardship but enduring it honestly. His return was not about proving invincibility, it was about honoring survival. In choosing to continue, he reaffirmed the same lesson his life had always taught: persistence is power. A legacy built on resilience. Jamie Foxx's legacy cannot be measured solely by awards or records. It lives in resilience, earned, tested, and reaffirmed. From abandonment to discipline, from obscurity to acclaim, his life reflects the complexity of survival. He did not escape hardship. He carried it forward and transformed it into purpose. His story reminds us that greatness often grows from fractured beginnings and that strength is rarely loud. It is patient, consistent, and deeply human. Jamie Foxx stands not as a symbol of perfection, but as proof that endurance can shape meaning. He survived moments that could have erased him, not by denying pain, but by learning from it. In doing so, he created a life defined not by what he overcame, but by what he chose to become, again and again.